The crazy stuff going on here against this Brazilian player, Class A. I think I've gone down to Class B, but only just. Yeah, they come out with this, where it's always very, very aggressive, this bishop opening, especially onto this c4 square. So I attack the pawn, he attacks the pawn, and it's neither of us defending the pawn, so I thought I'm actually going to take it because he's going for hyper-aggressive, so let's see if I can use the weaknesses that creates. So out he comes with this knight. He's straight away going for the fried liver, as you see. The idea being that, I can't actually chase either of these off because he's got things like this, you see. Or worse, this. So, but I can chase this one off with the pawn because it blocks the line for doing the fried liver. Okay, so that's an escape from the fried liver, is that. And you can't pin a pawn the same as you can pin a knight. The knight up there he can get rid of. He retreats, and then I come up to here. So basically I'm saying, well, you want to do fried liver, I can do fried liver too. So much worse. This is checkmate if he doesn't do something about it. And of course there's this, but this can be quite tricky because he obviously can't capture with this because of this. And if he captures with this, then I get the knight. So, and his position's really, really bad. So he comes out here, which is, I think, the best move he can make. And I come here just offering the exchange, just defuse the whole thing, but I'm also attacking his knight, which, unlike mine, is undefended. So the knight retreats. Now, I suppose I could actually, I did think about doing this. It was a thought, it occurred to me, but then I'd have to retreat the knight, and I don't know that I've gained a lot. He's just going to castle queenside. Yes, his structure's a bit shit now, but I don't know. It did occur to me that I could do that, but I didn't want to do that. He didn't want to take the queen, and so I thought, well, I'm not going to exchange queens either. Anyway, I was trying to get something going with this, this square at the top. This, what would that be? The F2 square. I was trying to get his queen away from it so that I could have enough quantums to give him a check on there, or at least take with it. And of course, that doesn't give me enough quantums. He's still got the king and the knight. I forgot that the king is part of the quantum. Anyway, so he gets a free bishop. So I'm going to have to get that bishop back. So I can add one here to the pot, but he can add one as well. He's added the queen back now. Although I think that's a better move, personally. But anyway, well, no, maybe not, because you don't want to put your queen in front of your king. So yeah, so he does this, and then, well, I just shored up the pawn structure because I realised I had a weak pawn here, otherwise he could take that. And now he attacks my knight. And I haven't really got anything on there. I'm not going to come out ahead, so he's going to actually come out with check, capturing the pawn. So I'd rather disrupt his pawns. And maybe I could have castled on the next. What I did was this move. Very useful to know that when you've got two squares between the knight and your bishop, you're blocking all its advances. So any knight that's potentially advancing on your position, stick a bishop 2 squares, or so I should say 3 squares in front of it, and you will be blocking all its advances. So that's why I did that move. It also protects the. It's being attacked by the knight anyway, so it was already en prise, so it was a good move. Now he starts a rather, I think, a premature attack. Check. So I checked him with this very dangerous move. As I say, you should never put your queen in line with your king, especially when castling is imminent. And he's even got this square here where his king is marked with the knight, which means after castling he could threaten my queen there, but he can't castle now. So there's not. He's still got to take 2 moves to get a castle out at her. Well, there's that's still not the first move. The way he's done it, he still needs 2 moves to get the castle in line with my queen. So I'm not worried about that. I castled. Queenside castle. And now he castled queenside. Okay, so now have a look. What do you think? I thought he had the upper hand at this point. I really did. But I had also seen. Well, first of all, I did this little move. I just want his queen to be worried about that rook in front of her. And this doesn't achieve anything because it just puts his queen at risk, really. If only I had a light-coloured bishop to mark. But anyway, the point was I saw suddenly that he has, if I move this pawn up, he actually has 2 pieces there ready for a pawn fork. So I can get that ready straight away. First of all, got this knight out to link my rooks, because I thought I wanted to have more rooks at the back linked, which is really important. Then just doing this. See, this is why I needed to get that rook mark. So that rook that's attacking his queen is got 3 pieces protecting it. My queen, my knight, and my rook. So back goes this bishop, and now I can start with this little idea. I suppose he probably should have done something like this. Or even that. Is the fork coming? Oh, no, he did. But, yeah, but it's too late at this point. He should have done that earlier. Because now the fork comes. He takes. I take. So I've got my bishop back. And the pawn count is... I'm actually 1 pawn down. No, pawn count is actually even. Yeah, it's actually even. And his knight's on the run. Could have taken it, I suppose. Might have been good. Might have been good to give him an even worse pawn structure, but instead attacking his queen. Because I suddenly thought that I've got this lovely idea. If we just move his queen out of the way for a second. I blocked that with the knight. I didn't need to use my queen to block it, or the rook. Now he carries on with his little advance here. I just got rid of this spare loose knight because I thought that could have been a real problem. Yeah, the idea was that this knight here could go all the way up to... Where is it now? It's now on f7. It could have gone to e5, and then it could have gone to d3 with check. And if I had a rook in line with his king, then his pawn would be pinned and wouldn't be able to recapture. So I started getting these rooks in line. This one first. Now he opens that for me, and I get my king out of line with his queen, just to pair it as well, so that I can move that knight. Now he carries on with his pawns, and I looked at his pawns, and I thought I couldn't see how he could actually do anything final with those pawns just yet. So I needed every tempo I could get to this attack to get extra artillery towards his king. So that's why I was ignoring this advance, and I know that's dangerous. He's now marked my pawn there twice, but he could actually have just done this on the next move. But anyway, he instead moved his queen up to keep her in line with my king. Obviously hoping to do something like move onto the h6 square, that pawn. But now I can attack the queen. And he still gets in line with the h pawn. But now I can... Well, now I still can't yet do this knight move because he's got the queen. If the queen wasn't there, that would be an invincible move. But I've got this, so now it is an invincible move. So he blocks. He blocks to make it not be an invincible move. And so now I have to... Well, unfortunately, this move opened up the line of his bishop towards my king, but I had to do something about this advancing pawns because my attack had now failed. He had both blocked it and, with his bishop, launched an attack. So he takes, and I'm a bit buggered here.
Check.
I had to instead see this in that bishop move. That was a very complex move of the game, and possibly the most complex move of the game, because it first of all blocked that attack with my knight. It secondly pinned my knight against my king once his pawn's onslaught. And thirdly, it pins...
Check.
Well, thirdly, it revealed, so I should say, it revealed our rooks face to face, which meant that I was able to get a check in there, which was important because it took his rook off of that g-file where the other action was happening with the other pawn. And then I was able to get rid of the bishop so that the pin was removed, which I had. So I had to exchange a bishop for a rook and then take that pawn there. So now I have managed to stave off the beginning of this attack. And now it's knight and rook against sorry, now it is knight and queen against rook and queen, which is always an interesting sort of endgame-ish situation. I've already got 4 pawns. He has got 6, but his queenside pawns are not very well organised. So let's see what happens next. Well, now he's obviously looking to try and get my king in line with my queen. I can't do something like this because there the queen dies.
Check.
So I had to block like this, and then when his rook comes down, I have to move over and get the quantum. So now I'm covered. I've covered everything. But what am I going to do now? He's going to continue his attack on my queen.
Check.
So I decided to do this since there was no longer 2 people attacking my king. And I don't think I could take that pawn safely, so instead I attacked this g pawn, the f pawn. I think I think my queen would have been too much out of the game if I'd taken the g pawn, the f pawn. So attack the g pawn. His queen moved in 1 square here, just defending that pawn. And so I decided that now I can take that pawn because it's hard for him to get the rook and queen in line with each other again. He can't cannon them again so easily now. It's gonna give me an extra move. So then he comes over here and he steals a pawn here. But I've got a passed pawn now on the 5th rank, actually, suddenly, out of nowhere almost, which is quite weird. So just came to here just to protect it and to be protected by it.
Check.
And simultaneously I will be attacking his pawn in a minute when I start to move mine forward. So here we go with check. This looks pretty desperate. It really does look like I can't do much to get out of this one. Don't know, what do you think? How's it look to you? Well, I had this move here. Really nice. Really nice move. And he decided that the best thing to do was actually just swap queens and try to have the advantage of a rook and the pawns over my knight. But he hasn't got such a well-advanced pawn as I have. So he comes here, attacks the knight, and that just allows me to nip his pawn off. And now he comes up here, queening rank, and obviously all I have to do now is bring my king up to support, which is exactly what I was hoping for. Incidentally, it would have been impossible for him to leave his rook on this rank, preventing my king's advance, because the pawn then can just advance. So he has to kind of move it, and so my king has to escape. And now we get some very interesting, well, we first of all get this horrible fork.
Check.
And there goes the king.
Check.
But now we get some really nice,
check.
Like there, look at that. He's got to move back. So forward with the king. Once again, he can't move forward.
Check.
He's got to move back. He can move slightly to the side. He could have actually moved there, I suppose, but I don't think it would have made much odds. So here we continue, and again, I have blocked all movement onto the next rank for him. So he's desperately trying to get something queened. Looks like he might almost make it. I mean, he's only 1 move behind me now with his queening pawn, and he's got his king blocking there. But we've got check here, and when he comes over, I've got this beautiful, beautiful move here. Check. He can't sit around and wait for the pawn, because I'm covering the queening square with the knight. He can't get on the queening square because it's covered with the knight, and if he takes the knight, which is what he did,
promotion to queen.
I'm going to queen, and then his pawn. And that's it, where the game ended. So that was like I felt like such an incredibly narrow escape there. Got me up to 1795, and we're well on the way back to being Class A again. Thanks for watching.